claws in his purple heart and said, Dad, you know that hurts. Cause that told me it's to not sound grateful. Cause the good Lord knows I am for sparing me my life on the day he took my breath.
You're listening to We Patriot Radio. Currently playing Somerville Heroes.
But destiny didn't lead me that way. So I'm not trying to say you're wrong, but heroes ain't the ones who make it home. He said Danny had a daughter he'll never get to see, and I know that he was proud. He was only 23.
Left your left, hey. Left right, your left. You got it.
Trucker.
Doctors, roll out.
You're watching or listening to We Got Your 6 at 6 Patriot Playtime. We the people, the People's Patriot Project.
Looking for a place to put your skill set, your thoughts, and ideas, or want to help continue the mission? You have come to the right place. We are the People's Patriot Project, and we are the shock and awe when it comes to meeting the needs of our veterans and first responders. We are dealing with a new enemy in today's world where the wounds are not always seen. We want you to be a part of this mission in saving lives and making a difference. Welcome to We Got Your 6 at 6 Patriot Playtime. Here's the We P3 team bringing you today's best heroes hits in the boots on the ground organizations that are saving lives. And as always, Patriot Pride.
Left your left, hey. Left right, your left. You got it.
Trucker.
Good evening. This is Andrea Eichmann here with the Patriot Project. Tonight, it is the 22nd of September, and we are here bringing you our weekly show, which we turn into a podcast later. We call it We Got Your 6 at 6, Every week, we bring you a guest. A lot of times we bring a new artist, and then we share all the good and sometimes not so good things happening in our world. This week, we have some super amazing guests. We have got Joel Granfalisi here. He's going to share some of his story and kind of where things are at today. And then we're going to have Jack Blaise here to share his music, and he'll be sharing that live. So stay tuned for that coming up. Our sponsors tonight include Catch 22 with Derek Iozio, Operation Texas Strong, the Boho Hobos Hideaway with Lauren Iozio, and our very own Kimmer Gwinner. She's on the screen with us tonight. We also have Brian Kenzer over here on the screen. He's with us, and he supports WeP3 with his business, Smart Living Today. This is about American-made products, and it has a stream to help help support the People's Patriot Project while you shop. He's going to talk about this later as well. Come support us, and we'll show you how to support your health and those American manufacturers, the American jobs, and the People's Patriot Project. Boom. Also, again, I did last week, I want to thank the New Brighton Lions Club. We had a second donation towards Reads Across America. I and Peterson run the Reads Across America here at Fort Snelling in Minneapolis. And we got a couple donations towards wreaths. The first one in honor of Glenn Pletcher of Pletcher's Greenhouse. And that was very much appreciated. Thank you very much. All more information on the second one when it gets here. The People's Patriot Project, We've Got Your 6 at 6, can also be heard on Reads Across America Radio on Sunday evenings at 11 p.m. I've got a little link for you here. It's on Odyssey, iHeartRadio, the TuneIn app, or you can just search the word Wreath on your favorite podcast platform, and it should show up. Thank you very much to our sponsors, our guests, and our viewers. Before we get started with this week's show, I want to say hi to Dylan Petrie. Good to see you, dude, and Bourbon Battle Buddies. Surprise in the house. I would like everybody to stand if you can, take off your hats and cover your heart, and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Wow, that was a loud one.
That was one of the best we've ever done. We got to do the classic rearrange people here because you won't get to see it on the podcast. But if you're here, you figure out all the pieces and you know who belongs in their spot, who gets their space, and what we're doing. It is September 22nd, and we are here with We Got Your 6 at 6. We, the people, the People's Patriot Project. And this has been a piece that's been weighing heavy on my heart for the week. And what are we doing? We, the people, have absolute every resoundable responsibility to accommodate the needs of our people in this country. If you claim to be an American, the United States of America, you are part of something bigger than anything that's ever worked in the world. And this organization, as a country that's less than 300 years old, that has seen the progress and has been at the, you can argue whether we're the best, the greatest, superpower, this and that, whatever. That's not important to me. But at the end of the day, that we are accommodating the need, the service, the representation of all the people that stand in this country and use this country as their homesake. We all have a task in this. And we're going to hear about some of these pieces here tonight. Because not everyone gets to have, and I'll fight this one, prove me wrong a little bit, have this conversation. We've had some pretty difficult conversations over the last couple of weeks in regards of how you approach certain content, certain subjects. And bottom line is we're a nonprofit. And we don't hide who we are and what we are and where we go, what side we lean, what side we don't lean. We want to go right down the middle. Me, Kimmer, Eichmann, these guys are to the left and the right, so that they represent the left and the right. And no, that's not true. I made that up. It's not true. No one is part of the left and right. We are all part of an organization that is. Oh, Kimmer moved yourself. Jonathan might have moved Kimmer. They moved you, Kimmer. He moved you to the left. Does it gotta be so damn hard? We've got to just. We had some pre-show conversation, and I'm going to call you out, Joel, a little bit.
Okay.
I'm going to call you out on the fact that you said that we all need to be part of the debate. And I'm like, I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't know that everything's got to be a freaking debate. How about
a conversation?
Yeah. How about you own you? Not you, Joel, but you, our entire world of listening here, however big that world of listening is. How about you own you? They own them, and I don't step on your toes or other body parts in the meantime.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end, I live my life for me in the way that I want to live my life, as long as it's not stepping on other people's feet or other body parts. Because some of us have the body parts I'm referring to, some of us don't, and that's okay too. I just
nowhere near your feet, dude. Nowhere near your feet. Sorry.
Some do.
No.
Hey, I think we should congratulate Mr. Stephen John in finding someone that likes to think that they want to spend more time with him and his matrimony. That's the way I'm going to put it. Stephen John, congratulations. You found someone that at least is pretending wants to spend more time with you. We love you, brother. Good job. You somehow figured out how to do it out of your gene pool, too. I don't know how that happens, but anyway. Look at our panel tonight. We got a strong panel of people, all veterans, not to exclude anybody, all veterans, and people that want to make a difference in the lives of people across this country. I see how I fixed that? I fixed that because we don't need to worry about the other pieces. Mr. Blaise, good to have you here, brother.
Yes, sir. Thanks for being here. Yeah, loving it.
Well, we're here every Sunday. Thank you for being here, bro.
Yeah. Thanks for what you do is what I mean to say.
Mr. Felice, good to see you, brother.
Yeah, good to see you all.
Last time we had you on as a musician. Mr. Blaise is filling your position as a musician. Tonight you are coming in as an influencer with a message that you want the world to hear.
Okay.
We've got Mr. Kenzer. Good to see you, brother.
Hey, good to see you too. I love this. I feel like I'm on the Hollywood squares, like Jack right above me. I
know, right?
Oh, Kimmer.
Oh, yeah. See, you mixed up the point. I did. You got to be familiar with the point. I just have to go up. I don't have to go left to right. I am glad you can, and I'm teasing you when I say this, can break yourself away from the boat long enough to come be here. Not only here, but here on time. We appreciate you. I'm messing with you a little bit.
Yeah, no, that's good. I deserve it. I deserve it.
And the amazing WP3 team. Sorry, Kimmer, I got to loop you into the WP3 team because you're here, you help, you're part of the mission. But Kimmer's got her own stuff going on with her wizardry of word magicianism. I made that word up, just so you guys know. But we appreciate Kimmer and what she brings to the table. And Jonathan with his logic, and Miss Eichmann with her first initial so she can be A-Bomb and all of her amazing leadership. What an amazing team we got going on here. Jonathan,
Yes.
share with us what's in the news, brother.
All right. September. September is it's a busy month. It's National Service Dog Month. It takes place to show appreciation to service animals. They play a huge role in the lives of human beings. Service dogs are trained to take care of humans that suffer from different ailments, disabilities, or mental health issues. The sole purpose of their life becomes to aid their human companion and make the human's life easier. There are about 500,000 registered service dogs in the U.S. today. September is also Suicide Prevention Month, and in recent years, society has become more open and receptive to discussions and conversations on suicide. However, there is still a stigma that surrounds it, and with suicide rates steadily increasing, it means that the right conversations and the right help is not reaching people on time. It's one of the fastest growing epidemics around the world, with approximately 44,000 people in the U.S. alone dying by suicide each year. Suicidal thoughts can plague anyone, regardless of age, gender, or social status, commonly linked to depression. There is no foolproof indicator of suicidal tendencies. Many people suffer from depression or suicidal thoughts and manage to cover them up quite well. It's the responsibility of each of us to be there for each other, our friends, and our families. If the suicide rate is ever going to fall, then we should all educate ourselves on suicide prevention practices and take an active part in suicide prevention in our communities. Suicide is the 10th leading cause of death in the U.S., and there were approximately 1.4 million suicide attempts in 2019 alone. September 26th is National Law Enforcement Suicide Awareness Day, and the day aims to promote an open dialogue regarding law enforcement officers' mental health and continue to dispel the stigma of getting help. Blue Help, which HELP is an acronym in this organization, stands for Honor, Educate, Lead, and Prevent. Were the founders of this day. And they created it to recognize the issue, support families, provide solutions, and respect those who have died and continue to raise awareness to end suicide. Law enforcement officers have the most significant risk of suicide more than any other employment. During their careers, law enforcement officers will witness an average of 188 critical incidents. Due to the toll that this takes on them, they are 5 times more likely to die by suicide, or I'm sorry, I read the wrong line. They are 5 times more likely to experience PTSD than civilians. More officers will end up dying by their own hands than by felony attacks each year. And among the many designs of this day are to honor the service of those law enforcement officers that take their lives, to promote awareness about suicide in law enforcement communities, and it reminds officers and their families that they are not alone. Assistance is available, and also to assist in reducing the stigma that is attached to seeking treatment. I had the privilege this weekend, and the WP3 team that's down here in South Louisiana had the privilege this weekend of being part of a very large outreach for law enforcement officers, and it's great to see things like this going on in the community. But for sure, September is not the only month that these things take place in communities all over the world, but September is definitely more prevalent because it is Suicide Awareness Month. So I would encourage you to all of us to get out there and find a way that we can be a part of active suicide prevention in our communities, whether it's showing a face, or there's more to it than just taking a walk. If your friends know that you stand and that you stand against suicide and that you're willing to participate in suicide prevention. Maybe because they've seen you participate in a walk, or they see you there every year. Maybe when someone you know in your life is struggling, you'll become the person that they reach out to. So every little bit that we can do to be active in the community definitely helps out. And we encourage you to be active in your community, wherever that may be. That's it for the news, by the way. Sorry. Mark's on mute.
Well, I was trying to be quiet so I didn't interrupt what you had to say. I said, how eloquently put, Mr. Crochet, is what I said. No, that's not what I said. So I just want to make it clear, suicide is a gigantic piece that we're trying to infiltrate and be part of, and not part of, but part of the education, part of, hey, if you need to talk to someone, have a conversation. If you can't reach out to someone that's close to you, then reach out to us. If there's people in your world that think that you might be prone or an applicant to this process, I mean, bottom line is, I don't think there's a reason, and this is where I get in trouble, because I'd rather have a conversation with you, and we've heard this 1,000 times, than to read about your obituary tomorrow and or hear about the frustrations and the concerns and I didn't see it coming, and I didn't know that was coming, and I didn't act when I was supposed to act, and I didn't. We're here to help. We're here to have a conversation. We're here to be on that next level of something. And the other side of this is, we're not just here about PTSD. We're not just here about suicide. We're here about trying to fix and create solutions to all the pieces that kind of plague. And I'm not saying it's not deserving. I'm not saying that, but sometimes our brothers and sisters don't have the knowledge and skill set to navigate through some of the pieces that they got to navigate through post, we could say, employment, deployment, or all those pieces. It's a conversation. And if you got a team of people here to advocate for your specific and intrinsic needs, then we want to be the team that does that. And it's a tough conversation sometimes, and not knowing specifically the entities that we're trying to accommodate. And I know this, it sounds like I'm talking on my ass, and I get that piece. But the reality is, our brothers and sisters who have served have stumbled on issues that prevent them from moving forward. Now, is that everyone in armed services and first responders? Nope, it's not. It's some. Are those people broken? Nope, they're not broken. They just haven't learned specific skill sets. We can help with that. In the same time, some of the things that our brothers and sisters are dealing with isn't even about their service. It's about the stuff they dealt with prior to service. And we get this. This is a whole knowledge and skill set that we have established over the last 5 years in building and growing what the People's Patriot Project is about. But at the end of the day, the People's Patriot Project believes that the men and women that have served and have done something more for their communities and their country deserve a little bit of a push, pull, or a leg up in some accommodation, because they've done something that was sacrificial to their country and their community, and they gave themselves. They gave themselves in time, blood, sweat. Some of them gave their limbs. Some of them have literally given their lives. And that is why we do what we do. That's our mission. That's what we do. If you want to argue, hey, have that conversation with us. Do we we give our call to actions to all people that might be struggling. We give in our mission, and when we did the, I don't know, what did we call it? I'm dropping stuff here. In the early 20s, there was a thing that may or may not have happened in the Minnesota area and maybe the rest of the world. And some label it as a civil unrest. And we created some platforms that helped take care of those that were deployed and those that were serving during those times. But at the same time, we also helped those that needed a little help because of that. And there's some confusion in how that works. Bottom line is, first responders and those that serve do that. They serve their community and their country. They've done a little bit, added in more above and beyond. I'll say 90% because we got some very patriotic individuals that give all the time. Roughly only 3% of our country serve in the military. Roughly 3% of our country serve as first responders. So that is 3 and 3, except for the fact that roughly 70% of those that have prior service are involved as a first responder. So that it gets muddied in there a little bit. It is what it is. Life's life. So let's go back to 5%. 5% of our country is maintaining the civil servitude that it takes to run what our country is supposed to be established upon. And the rest of them are takers. And I'm sorry if that offends you. If you don't want to be labeled a taker, then get involved. And that's what the People's Patriot Project is all about, being involved. Blah, 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 blah. Shut the hell up, Mark. What are these people doing here today? These people are here to make a difference. We got Mr. Joel Folisi. He's been here before as a musician, but today he's here as a member of society who's got a unique niche. The hillbillies of Wyoming say niche. He's got a unique niche in that he comes to our country in a different perspective, not as a anti-American or anything like that, because he's all American, but he's got a story and he wants a message and he wants to put it out there. Joel, tell us about your veteran background and who you are. Tell us about that piece first. We got to help you with your microphone a little bit. I got you.
My surname when I was born was Warner, so I grew up in Western New York State, and I grew up in a very strict Baptist family, and people used to pick on me because I wouldn't eat pork and all that, so they always called me Jewish and all that. So I lived through that through my childhood, and then my big thing was I'm a big baseball player and ice hockey player, so that was something to keep me occupied growing up. And then I decided to join the United States Coast Guard in 1982 to kind of escape my situation, and I had a chance to have a very good career until I became disabled in the Coast Guard. So I'm a disabled veteran, still using the skills that I learned way back in 82, 83, 84, and 85, and put into good use today.
So what ultimately brings you here tonight?
Well, what brings me here tonight, I kind of see what's going on over in Israel. I converted to Judaism back in 1994, and I studied with a rabbi for a couple years before I took the whole plunge. And in 1999, my first wife, I married an Israeli, and I made Aliyah to Israel, and I became a dual American Israeli citizen. I was a Israeli citizen from 1999 to 2006, but my experience living in Israel, learning to be an immigrant to a different country, start learning a different language, and experience their culture. That was I'm very, very grateful that the marriage didn't work out, but that's besides the point. I had a chance. My favorite part of living up in Israel was in the northern part of Israel, and that time the IDF was occupied southern Lebanon, so I can still hear the fighting in my mind to this day. And basically, what brings me here tonight is what happened last October 7th. I mean, I came back to the U.S. to live after 9/11, and I thought it was my duty as an American to come back and help take care of my country after that attack, because when I was working at Tower Semiconductor up in Migdal Emek, Israel, and then somebody told me, you got to look on the internet. I couldn't get a hold of my family at the time, but what I seen on the Israeli TV, and then basically I seen all these Palestinians celebrating because of the World Trade Center came down, and that really kind of hit home what happened. Seeing these demonstrations around the country and how Jewish students are being treated in New York City, I said, man, if these people could have seen how the Palestinians were celebrating on 9/11, I don't think a lot of these naive people in these universities would. I don't think they've been educated good enough. But it's October 7th really kind of hit hard to me. I was at the VA, and they said, we noticed that you got PTSD, and if was there any triggers for you? And I didn't ever reach out to the VA about my struggles I had listening to the fighting in southern Lebanon, because I didn't think it was right for me to go to an American veteran organization to seek help that way. I just kept everything in my mind. I tell them what happened, so they got me some counseling over the summer, and that kind of helped me out. So I kind of wanted to come in and tell my story about the Jewish perspective.
Well, we appreciate you, and we know that this is a piece of, I mean, we would like to have a conversation with both sides of it, but we appreciate your side of it, and we appreciate your perspective on it. We have other Jewish veterans that have spoken up, and we would like to, again, back to the debate conversation. It doesn't have to be a debate. It has to be a conversation. And I know that you're willing to have that, and I know you're willing to listen to both sides and do what's best for the majority. The majority is for the life and liberty of everybody.
Yeah, that's true.
Bottom line. So,
and I work with Iraqis that came to the United States and lived after the Iraq War, and also there's an Iranian that made his way to the United States, and I talked to him quite a bit. We actually became pretty good friends. He's a Muslim, and he says that we don't hate you. It's our governments that are at odds with each other, and we've been having conversations back and forth. And there's a Iraqi Muslim musician that wants to make music with me. So he works the weekend shift, and I work during the week. So we're trying to find time to come together where we can bring our music together and maybe bring some good into the world.
I love to hear that, man. I love to hear that. Yeah. We'll come back to you with some more questions.
Okay.
Mr. Blaise.
Howdy, howdy.
This is a long time coming, man. We've been, we tried to make this work, and live stuff is live stuff, and sometimes life is more important than a Sunday night podcast / live stream. But we got you now. You're here. Tell us your story, man. Tell us who you are. Tell us about your service. Those two pieces.
Well, first off, I wanted to say that I really appreciate the idea that there is a first responder suicide awareness day also, because, I think that's something that gets overlooked a lot in the conversation. And one thing I've learned about trauma dealing with my own stuff is that it's cumulative. So if you were a veteran and you experience trauma and then you go into law enforcement, or like my case, fire department, and you experience more trauma, those odds that you were talking about, get shorter and shorter. So I really appreciate that being part of the conversation. But as for me, I joined the Army in '93. Really didn't care for what I was doing. Got out, went back into the Marine Corps. So I got to go to boot camp twice. I'm real smart. And then, so I got out of the Marine Corps though in '99, and didn't do anything else for a while. And then I was joined in the reserves a little bit in '02. Then I got in the Houston Fire Department in '04. Through my whole military, I never deployed anywhere. Didn't have a very eventful time, but became a paramedic with Houston Fire Department. Worked for about 10 years with them and had to retire due to headaches, severe headaches, and we're still trying to kind of figure out where they come from. But I found a dentist that helped a lot, and so I actually had TMGA that was adding and all this stuff. So I became a chronic pain patient, had to retire. Long story short, I was laying in bed, pretty much feeling sorry for myself, not doing anything, and ran across this group called Soldier Songs Voices. And, I don't even know how I got on their list. They sent me an email, says, "Hey, are you a veteran? Do you like music? Would you like to meet Vince Gill?" And I was like, hell yeah, I'd like to meet Vince Gill. So I signed up with them, and that was right at the beginning of COVID. So we ended up having a virtual Zoom meeting that time. But really, I have to say that connecting with Soldier Songs and Voices really turned my outlook around, turned my life around in a lot of ways. Because what we do at Soldier Songs Voices is we teach people to write songs to deal with their issues. Because the first thing you have to do to write a decent song is look at the truth about whatever story you're trying to tell. And that's often uncomfortable, to say the least, and difficult, but it's very rewarding if you can get it down and get it into the story. And so that's why I'm here tonight, is kind of spread the word of music therapy, songwriting therapy. Maybe play y'all a couple songs and have a conversation.
Have you ever been to the Platypus Brewery in Houston?
I have not.
I only bring that up because when Andrea and myself got to be on a podcast at Platypus Brewery roughly, I want to say 5 years ago, we did not even have the beginning thought or inclination of doing a podcast or live stream at that time. And we were on Mr. Christopher Isaac's podcast. And the weird thing was, Shad Turner showed up there that day. And for the first time we had ever been on a podcast, we were at Platypus Brewery in Houston. Oddly enough, Andrea and I got to go hang out with Kelly Pickler later that evening. And it was a weird conversation or weird evening. But we were down for a teacher convention in Houston, and that just all worked out. And we were running the People's Patriot Project, and we did not want to do a podcast. We didn't want to build the content. We did not want to build the pieces. And Adam Bird of Heroes Media Group was an active board member at that time, at the very beginnings. And it's weird. Now we're 5 years later, and we've got this amazing, fun, energetic podcast / live stream that we have. Who would have known? Because of some virus that decided to poke its head up in our country or something like that, whatever people want to say. But we appreciate our guests and those that we've been able to exploit and expose not really, showcase and share the mission across the country. And little did we know, who would have thought we'd have a chapter down in Louisiana, and the amazing friends we have across the country, including, we already said, Stephen John down in wherever he's at any given moment, the Gulf, the Louisiana, Florida, or Texas, or Nashville, or all those above. But just the other amazing friends who come on here, like Amanda, who comes and shares her story and her mission. And it's an amazing, I don't know. I live for this day every week because of the relationships we get to build. Jack, you got a song you want to play for us right now?
Sure, I'll give you this song. I actually, a few years ago on the radio, I heard one of those really jingoistic song BS about I can't wait to be buried in Arlington, and it really struck a nerve and really pissed me off. I don't even remember who played it, but so I wrote this. This is called I Bow My Head. Raised up under the stars and stripes, I got down on my knees each night, heard the good news said each day. When 19 came, I went away, became a cog in the green machine. Man, you wouldn't believe the things I've seen. So when that flag is raised and the anthem plays and the jets, they go thundering overhead, keep your heads held high so you don't wonder why. Bow my head so you don't see me cry. Now I'm haunted by some things I've done in the name of the Father and the Son. Yellow ribbon, heroes parade, that's all fool's gold at the end of the day. Shiny enough to make you believe, the coldest stone against a widow's grief. So when that flag is raised and the anthem plays and those jets, they go thundering overhead, keep your heads held high so you don't wonder why. Bow my head so you don't see me cry. Yeah, keep paying your lip service, don't look beneath the surface, 'cause that's where you might find just how it feels coming home to a sack full of pills to try and ease your mind. Now here I sit in the land of the free, when my neighbors want to take from me. Gave so much and still want more. What the hell was it all for? So when that flag is raised and the anthem plays and the jets, they go thundering overhead, keep your heads held high so you don't wonder why. Bow my head so you don't see me cry. Yeah, bow my head so you can't see me cry. Thank you.
That's very good. Awesome. Peterson's talking again with himself. Hold on.
Talking
Oh.
is with I Bow My Head. Out freaking standing. The message is right. It serves a purpose. And it's meaningful to you, and you're able to put it out in words. I thank you for that, brother.
Thank y'all for listening. That's yeah.
Mr. Kenzer, what brings you here tonight?
Yes, sir. Well, it's Jack, and thanks for being here. It's a pleasure to meet you and Here's company called Smart Living. We focus on getting your healthy on. We focus on shopping American. We focus on helping the People's Spirit Project. Love to show you about that. We'll link in there. You check it out. Put name and email address, comes directly to me. We'll talk. I'll tell you my story. But what I really want to share tonight is something. I've been a member of the Rotary International Club for 30 years. And the club in my local area just had their big fundraiser last week. And they allowed me to do a section called Fund a Cause. And my cause here was the mental health veteran. Now, obviously, September is mental health or suicide prevention or awareness month. I don't really care for that term because I think every month should be suicide awareness and prevention month, and that's what we strive to do. So we put together a program, a friend of mine and I, that included Netmeyer program, and I was there from Netmeyer Music. We had Patrick Netterschein, founder of Guitars for Vets. We had Peter Rizerka, current president of Guitars for Vets. And we had a woman named Kate Steinberg, who is a historian who does a phenomenal job of doing vocal records. So all these folks got up and kind of told their story, and then they together and played some music. And it was just an evening. I wish you could have all enjoyed it. I wish you could have videotaped it and shared it with you, but you'll have to take my word on it. It was pretty moving. And raised over $14,000 for these three organizations to help continue their efforts to help veterans and first responders, their way through the issues that they have from the experiences that they had through music and through telling their story. And pretty amazing. I heard we P3 tonight. Everybody listen. I talked to them about it. All the presenters at this program are interested in coming on and telling their story and talking to our audience. So we'll be helping coordinate that soon. It was just a great event. I feel really proud that we pulled it off, and looking forward to repeat it and do it again.
Again, we appreciate you and all the things you do behind the scenes and in front of the scenes, because you are a leader, you are a man of action, and we appreciate all those pieces. So thank you for all you're doing, Mr. Kinzer.
Thanks for saying that.
And again, those links will be added here to this space here to show you how to shop American and also live a healthy lifestyle here. Mr. Felici. May have, I gotta check, see if I'm in control. I am in control of your microphone. What is the message you want to get out there, brother?
I would think the type of message that I would want to get out is it seems like people around the world don't want to recognize the ancient Jewish presence, and to be politically correct, I'll say the land of Canaan. I mean, you can see ancient Hebrew all over the land, archaeological and all that. I haven't seen one bit of ancient Arabic in the land from the river to the sea. I think the message needs to be that there's definitely Jewish rights. Of course, there's definitely the Palestinians have been there for a long time. I'm a Y-DNA project administrator on family tree DNA, and I think if people really want to bring peace around the world, you could use the DNA to see how everybody's connected, and maybe we could start building a worldwide human family, seeing on how everybody's connected. I think we got to go back to that we're descended of Y-DNA Adam and mtDNA Eve. I mean, we're all humanity, and we got to learn to live together. This is our only world at the moment.
is there a piece, and I might have missed my mic right there, is there a piece that you don't think we're connected with yet?
I think in my Y-DNA project, my lineage is really from North Africa, from when the Sahara Desert was green, and I got very distant cousins that are in Libya, Algeria. The Europeans would call them Berbers, but they don't really like that name. It's the Amazigh. And I think what we're really missing is how we're all connected, and we all in my project, we got Muslims. I'm the only Jewish person in my project, and I got Catholics from Sardinia, Spain, Portugal, and Sicily, and we realize we're all connected through this certain lineage, and we just respect each other. I think the piece says nowadays I don't think people are respecting each other's ethnicities or backgrounds and how we're interconnected.
Well, and I think that is I think that's a grown culture piece, in my personal opinion. And the fact that we've learned a way to disrespect everyone in all levels, whether it is cultural, whether it is ethnical, whether it is genderism. We just have learned to be disrespectful as a primary culture. But with that said, is there anything within your makeup as a veteran and or a person that have served your country? Are there entities that help you come to this conclusion, or is part of this narrative?
When I was in the Coast Guard, we did search and rescue. So when we got the call to go out and help somebody, you're going out to help another human being, or if there was their pets or anything on board. That was part of our makeup, and I think the military was a good place to start integrating people. It took a while in the United States. In the IDF, that's how they integrated all these Jews from all around the world to get to know each other and all that. That was a big factor that helped made the IDF strong.
That is a gigantic piece of this irony in the fact that we brought this up on a number of occasions in our show, where the conversation is led in when you dial 911 and someone asks for help. There is no conversation about what ethnicity are you, what culture do you belong to. Sometimes it's clear, sometimes it's not clear. What are you, male or female? What religion are you? What do you believe in? Bottom line, at the end of that the start of that conversation is, how can I help and support you, and what service in our need or in our realm can we provide you? And that fire, EMS, or protection, and that is a gigantic piece to this narrative. And you nailed it in the conversation of, you working for the Coast Guard and people reaching out to you for services, protection. You don't have those conversations. You just go and serve and protect. And that's the unique piece in the realms. I've constantly and regularly have said that in the world of first responders and in the world of the military, it is all inclusive, not always to the best extreme, but it's all inclusive and it's all serving, because it does protect everyone in that realm. And so I appreciate you and your conversation owning who you are as a service member and owning that conversation. Again, more that we want to learn about what we can do. That's going to be the next question. But we're going to go back to Mr. Blaise here.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Blaise.
Yes, sir.
You're sharing your story. You're sharing your mission. You're sharing your music.
Mm-hmm.
There was a commonality that we had in a conversation about guitars for veteran.
Right.
What can you go? I don't know. I'm reaching a little bit.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I'll just tell how I got started, kind of bridging the gap between Soldier Songs of Voices and Guitars for Veterans. For those who aren't familiar, Guitars for Veterans, they if you sign up for their course as a veteran, you get 12 weeks of instruction. Correct me if I'm wrong on this, Joel. And then once at the end of that 12 weeks, then you get a guitar. And so by the time you're done with that 12 weeks, you can play a few chords and things like that. And so what our organization is trying to do, and what we do anyway, but we're hoping to link up with Guitars for Vets on a more larger level, so that once you've done your 12 weeks of guitar lessons, then, our guys can pick you up, or we can then help you, take that guitar knowledge that you have and turn that into your own personal story and your own self-therapy of writing your own songs and telling your own story. Mm-hmm. Because you don't have to be some great virtuoso to write a song. All you have to do is, honestly, you don't even have to play an instrument, so we take veterans, no matter their skill level, and help them, but it works perfectly as they come out of the Guitars for Vets instructions. And then if there's a SSV chapter right there, then we can just pick up from there and all work together. And it's, and then we can work together for fundraising and things like that. When I first booked to sit in with y'all about a year ago, I think it was, I was actually up in Denver, where we had just started our Soldier Songs and Voices chapter. And the big boost to get us going, so that we ended up being able to get into like VFW Post 1, which is an awesome location, by the way, was that we teamed up with the local Guitars for Vets. And so instead of being, me and one other buddy knocking on the door saying, hey, you mind if we have meetings here? Then I was like, hey, we have 15 people, can we? And it was a whole lot easier to, just kind of negotiate everything as a larger group of people, and just consolidating. And it's a great dual purpose mission, where it just feeds one into the other, goes together like Nutella, So.
Well, that's a great explanation and helping us understand how the bond or the creation of those pieces happen. Tell us more about where you're at and what you're doing now. And
I am living currently on right near Lake Somerville in the middle of Texas. It's about 2 hours from everything. It's about an hour from College Station, 2 hours to Houston, 2 hours to Austin, 2 hours to San Antonio, 3 hours to Dallas. But it takes me an hour to get to the grocery store. So I'm not doing a whole lot right now as far as being active. We talked about, I guess we just talked about it backstage, but I had to move out here to deal with some family issues. And so I've just kind of, that is kind of wrapping up now. And so I'm just now kind of sticking my foot out there and getting back out there. There is there are a few people here in College Station, and I'm trying to, I'm going to start reaching out and branching out and trying to get a chapter established here. There's been some interest, so hopefully we'll get that going. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm finishing up. I'm about to release a single, hopefully in the next about a month, hopefully. So that's pretty exciting. And that's kind of where I'm at. I have to admit that after taking a year off, it's been kind of hard to get some momentum back to get going. So I actually really appreciated y'all's reaching out to get me back on here, because that's that's the kick in the ass I need to, get back into what I need to be doing.
I 100% appreciate that, and the fact that for the last 3 months, I had to like focus the direction a little bit different than I normally do, and I had to fully rely on the team to do our podcast live stream. I had to fully rely on them. It wasn't, and it is. There's, I mean, you took a year off. I can't imagine taking a year off and then having to jump back in the 3 months and trying to find my place and my functionality within the group. They give me the graces of coming on here to lead this show on Sunday because this is what I've always done. But they've ran everything behind the scenes 100%. And I give accolades to the team, but it's hard to find your niche, and your role when you put it on a different burner for a moment. But we're here now, Mr. Blaise, and so you got another song for us?
Yeah, sure. And I'll just say we say niche out here in Texas too. So
I appreciate it. I don't know who says niche, but that might be the French.
I'm going to play this. It's a cover, but since it was requested and all y'all Minnesota people, and I'm such a huge Prince fan that I'm going to do it anyway. So this is When Doves Cry. Take, if you will, a picture of you and I engaged in a kiss. Sweat of your body, it covers me. Can you, my darling, can you picture this? Dream, if you will, a courtyard, an ocean of violets and blue. Animals strike curious poses. Feel the heat between me and you. And how can you just leave me standing alone in a world that's so cold? Maybe I'm just too demanding. Maybe I'm just like my father, too bold. I'm just like my mother, she's never satisfied. I know we scream at each other. This is what it sounds like when doves cry. When doves cry. Touch, if you will, my stomach. Feel how it tremble inside. You've got the butterflies all tied up. Don't make me chase you, even doves have pride. How can you just leave me standing alone in a world that's so cold? Maybe I'm just too demanding. Maybe I'm just like my father, too bold. Maybe I'm just like my mother, she's never satisfied. Why do we scream at each other? This is what it sounds like when doves cry. When doves cry. Just leave me standing alone in a world that's so cold. Maybe I'm just too demanding. Maybe I'm just like my father, too bold. Maybe I'm just like my mother, she's never satisfied. Why do we scream at each other? This is what it sounds like when doves cry. When doves cry. When doves cry. When doves cry.
Jack Blaise with When Doves Cry. What was the inspiration in making that cover, brother?
If I'm 100% honest, I was trying to get booked in a bar, and they said, do you know anything other than sad songs? And I was like, no, not really. I'm kind of an old country sad song kind of guy, you know? And they said, well, when you learn something that people will recognize, you know, come in and come back in. And so I looked that up, and, you know, it's always been one of my favorite songs. And I was like, I bet I could play that. And then I listened to it, and I was like, there's hardly any instruments in it. And it's very, you know, it's just not really my thing. But
there's some irony in this, and then you know anything that's not a sad song, and you pick When Doves Cry,
right, which is an incredibly sad song. Yeah, but
I love it. I mean, me and Andrea come from the world of Minnesota, and that's a Prince song, and so that is I love the broken down version of it. I mean, because Prince was very theatrical in everything he did, and but I just love the very basic strumming and keying of it, and just it was very simple, and I appreciate that. That was, you simplificated it, and sometimes less is more, and I think in that song that you nailed it. So thank you.
Well, thank you.
Hey, you know what I saw on? I was on Airbnb today, and I just was looking at, like, you know, fall, water, that stuff. His Prince's house with his bedroom is on Airbnb now. Wendy and Lisa Airbnb'd his bedroom. It's coming up at the end of September here, so you can stay at his place and sleep down in his room.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, and it's not like the big Purple Rain house. Like, that one's out on the west side of the cities. It's his actual, featured in the movie, basement bedroom house in the cities. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
The things people do.
Find Jim in this room. Let me know. Okay.
Yeah, right.
The things people do to make money, that, you know, regardless, they just will go and stay there to say they stayed there. And that's, hey, good for them. I will sell you some swampland in Florida.
No, dude, it's Wendy and Lisa from the Revolution. I wouldn't believe it. It wasn't.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh. No kidding. Yeah. Are you going to go stay there, Andrea?
I really kind of want to.
Yeah, just to do it?
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
Yeah, gotta like it. You grew up in the 80s. What do you do? Go find Prince.
Miss Kimmer.
Hello.
You got a poem for us tonight?
I do. I'm a disabled veteran, and I use a mobility scooter to get around. And for a while now, I've not been able to drive. So my wife has been taking off years of time to take me back and forth to the VA. Well, not long ago, I was fortunate enough to receive transportation through the VA. But in a short couple months that I've been using that as my mode to get back and forth from my appointments, I've had to cancel like 20 appointments because they keep canceling on me. They can't make it out here to pick me up. The vehicles broke down. We're short on drivers, whatever the excuse is. And it's taking effect. It's taking a toll on me. So I wrote this. It's called A Burden That We Shouldn't Bear. I am getting dry heaves again just now. It's starting to worry me. I'm raising my brow. My nerves are shot and it's hard to breathe. My blood is beginning to seethe. Transportation at my VA, I don't understand how they get by, of how they continually make me cancel appointments. Please clarify. My current healthcare team is second to none. I can't believe that this happens. Am I the only one? My mind is searching. I wish I had all the data to build a bigger case. Is what's happening to me the norm? Commonplace? If it is, then I wonder if it's the reason why some die by suicide, because of VA's problem to provide life-saving rides. No, not emergency 911 type life or death. That's not what I mean. But for others like me, because it does affect my mental hygiene, I know how this compounds my depression. But for how many of us? That's my question. Why my brothers and sisters at arms die by suicide will go forever unknown and truly never identified. It's enough that causes me to believe that there may be a link of how this could be a reason a veteran is pushed over the brink. Come on, VA, you can do better than this. Since I can see this, I hope it's no longer easy for you to dismiss. That you must not only own it, but take required action. Let's come together and make positive traction. I would very much like to be part of the solution in order to write a new transportation constitution so my veteran family can go to their much needed care, because this is a burden that we shouldn't bear.
That is Miss Kimmer with a burden that we shouldn't bear. Tough conversation, real world, and we are with you, Miss Kimmer. I don't know how, I don't. So Miss Kimmer asked me earlier, how do I feel about this conversation? And I said, it's your real conversation. It's your real truth. So put it out there. There's nothing wrong with doing that. And the reason why we do this is not to exploit Miss Kimmer. It's not to delineate away from what Mr. Felici wants to be here to talk about, or what Mr. Blaise wants to talk about, or what Mr. Kinzer wants to talk about, or any of the other pieces of talking about. It's that there is a mountain and plethora of stuff that our veterans and our first responders are dealing with on a daily that shouldn't have to be dealt with, in the fact that those services should be there. They should be provided. They should have access to those. And there is a reality, and I talked to Ms. Kimmer about this today. There is a reality that those services might be there and we don't even know about it. Those services might be available and we're not finding the pieces and the places and those things that need to put there so we have access to that. And again, that is why we do what we do with the People's Patriot Project, is so that we can put together all the pieces, all the multitudes and plethora of engagements to create a one-stop shop opportunity to maintain or to create. We've muddied our own waters. There's roughly 46,000 organizations in our country that says they're helping veterans and first responders. And I honestly, in dialogue, will say that less than 10% of those organizations are actually doing what they say they'll do. And you are creating confusion, brothers and sisters. Ms. Kimmer, we're with you. We'll always be with you. It doesn't fix the hurt, the pain, the frustration. It just means that we're there with you, dealing with the hurt, the pain, and the frustration, sister. If you have answers, if you have solutions, if you have conclusions to these, reach out to us. We're willing to give direction. And again, this is just in the form of a poem based on a real life experience. And we're with you, Miss Kimmer. Sorry. We have a couple of brothers and sisters that come on here and share, which is interesting because I just noticed that we're missing one of our regulars in the space today. We just lost Mr. Kinzer too. That's okay, but make sure, and then we'll get to our call to action here in a little bit and say this is what we got to do, when we got to do it, how we got to do it. Mr. Kinzer is a first responder, and that is what he's heading off to do. So that's where that's at. Mr. Felici. Tell us about what you're working on. I mean, you've already told us what you're working on and what your mission is and what you want to get out there. What are the next steps? What do you think we need to do next, brother?
I'm a Guitar for Vets instructor, so what I'm working on right now is teaching one veteran at a time to help them improve their lives by giving them the healing power of music through guitar. But I think probably the next steps, I would like to use my website, my thing, The Naked Guitarist, to get people from different cultures to talk about their musical experience of each other. And through music, maybe we can learn about each other's cultures and backgrounds.
That is brilliant. That is brilliant. Will you please, I mean, we will advocate for that as well, but will you please make sure you're letting us know how that works and where all those pieces are falling into place? And because here's the deal. I mean, this may or may not frustrate people. And I first of all, I don't care. But the amount of cultures that are involved with, we recently had Dr. Mackey on here and talked about the amount of, or the number of Japanese Americans that were involved in our service. That was a couple months ago. We have members of the Muslim society that are actively involved and are part of our military service providers. And again, all these pieces, they're serving America for the sake of what we represent.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's time. It's time that we show a representation of what that looks like. And that is, there are people from all over the world that have come to America and have taken up arms for the sake of providing the freedoms and liberties as service members to our country, to this country, the United States of America.
Yeah, my wife is my current wife is Japanese, and she grew up in Japan, and she's been driving to all my doctor's appointments to the VA and all that. So I definitely learned a lot about her culture. I have yet to be married to an American. I've been all over the world.
Dirty dog.
I learned a lot from I traveled all over the world in field service, and I dealt with many peoples and cultures. And one thing that I find is around the world, everybody likes music, and I think music can make the world a better place.
100% agree with you, brother. 100% agree with you. Mr. Blaise, what's next for you, brother?
What's next for me? Just trying to re-enter the world, you know, after my year off. So get back into action here.
That's good. That's good. You're starting off on some good steps, I think. We got you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Y'all did me a big favor.
Well, it's not a favor.
But also, no, believe me, it's a favor. Yeah. No, it's amazing how the universe works like that. You know, things that suddenly just pop up, and you're like, oh yeah. Especially when you're as ADHD as I am, I guess. Of course, it's kind of become cool to just say I'm ADHD. Well, my concentration span is awful. We'll just say that. So.
It's all good, man. I think all of our concentration, not to minimize your concentration span, but the rest of us is. But
oh yeah, I got to shout out to Scotty Frazier too. Semper Fi, bro.
Semper Fi, Scotty Frazier, great man of Texas. He's another Houstonite.
By the way, yeah, I've just recently connected with Scotty, and so.
Oh, you did?
So that is one other thing next for me is to work with Scotty some more because he's doing good stuff down here too.
He is doing amazing things. Jonathan and myself got to spend some time with Scotty last year down in Houston, and you were invited to the party, brother, but we didn't know you were invited to the party yet. And we'll make sure that happens in the future. Aaron Curtis Olson, and I might have said that name wrong. Did I say that name wrong, Jonathan?
Aaron Curtis Owens.
Owens, yes. And several other brothers and God dang, what an amazing BJ Leggett came and hung out with us down there. What an amazing team. What an amazing event.
Scotty's got a cool looking Telecaster too in one of his videos.
Scotty Frazier?
Yep.
Yes.
He's got a cool. This Telecaster here I had over in Israel with me.
Holy cow. Scotty is down to earth and does the real thing and kills it. Well, Jack, you got a song to end us on? I mean, it's not going to end the conversation, but your last song and feature for the evening?
Absolutely. I got a good one for you for suicide awareness even. This, like I said, I was laid up in pain for a long time. And every now and then you get to start asking yourself those questions, you know, that you don't really want to be asking. But that's where this came from. This is called Living a Lie. Smoke my mind to get me through the day. Wish to God I could find another way. Tell a lie to get me through the night. Tell myself tomorrow's gonna be alright. Yeah, there's things we say, there's games we play. We've all got our ways of getting by. 'Cause life ain't square, we all got a sauce to bear. Sometimes it helps to live a life. So here I am with my head in the clouds, so high up there's no one around. It's the most peaceful place I've found, and I ain't ever coming down. Yeah, there's things we say, there's games we play. We've all got our ways getting by. 'Cause life ain't fair, we've all got a cross to bear. And sometimes it helps to live a life. So put on some rose-colored glasses, or bury your head in the sand. No matter what it takes, gotta find a way to keep the strength to stand. Yeah, you gotta keep the strength to stand. So there's things we say, there's games we play. We've all got our ways of getting by. 'Cause life ain't fair, we've all got a cross to bear. Sometimes it helps to live a lie. Yeah, sometimes it helps to live a lie. So I tell a lie to get me through the night.
Yeah.
Mr. Jack Blaise with Living a Lie. And we got Scotty Frazier in the house dancing his dance in the background. Hoorah! That's what he says. That's what those says. Amazing. You're amazing, Scotty Frazier. Thank you. Thank you for being here, brother. So we're at that point in time. We've done our hour and 20 plus minutes, and we're here building a conversation, building a relationship, building a conversation. I said that twice about how can we be better. The version of ourselves tomorrow should be better than the version of ourselves today. That's bottom line. We don't have all the answers. We don't have all the conclusions. We don't have all the reasons why, other than the fact that maybe we should just be taking care of each other. And there is a piece where we have to take care of ourselves first. Right now, we're going to have the conversation amongst the panel about what is your takeaway for today. And usually, not usually, all the time, we rely on Mr. Crochet to start off the narrative about what is your takeaway from today. And it could be about this show. It could be about what you dealt with today. It could be about all the pieces, the facets, and the nuance. I don't even know if that's the right word. Nuances. That's the right word I wanted to look of today. Mr. Crochet, what do you got, brother? It's easier to hear it when the microphone's on.
Oh, you're one to talk, sir.
Hey, turn around. Fair play.
Oh, man. Joel, I appreciate you coming on and talking about your unique perspective of what's going on from just from a veteran who shares heritage on both sides of the border. And I would love to be able to experience the things that you've experienced and understand your perspective a little more. But those kinds of that kind of knowledge comes from having lived it and been there. And on some level, I think we can all be grateful that we don't have to share that burden or bear that burden. We just have to share it with you. Jack, the music tonight was great, man. I can't wait till we get the new single out. I'm gonna share that out, or we will, as the People's Patriot Project, share that out. Let everybody get a hold of it, man. Looking forward to hearing more from you, and looking forward to next time we get to make it down to Houston, and maybe we can get down there with Mark and we can get some paws on you.
Absolutely, it's a date.
Hell yeah.
This kind of, I guess, loosely has a little bit to do with the show, but it's just through some stuff that was kind of going on in my world at the moment, and it's something that's been kind of heavy for me lately. But sometimes when we're trying to recover and push forward in life, move forward, you can see the path very clearly. You know that you're doing better than you've ever done before, but for some reason, we'll stand right next to the open door and bang our heads on the wall for for whatever reason, right? And, you know, meanwhile, there's always somebody standing in the door going, "Hey, dude, come over here," you know. You just steadily banging your head on the wall. But anyways, the point that I'm trying to put out tonight is, you know, the people who are standing in that open door, reaching out and calling for you and trying to support you, even though you're knocking yourself unconscious on the wall. Those are the ones that care about you. Those are the ones that care about where you're headed, and those are the ones that want to see you reach new levels of success. So take a step back, grab a hand, grab whatever, and pull yourself through the doorway, because the future is waiting for you, man.
Miss Kimmer.
Jack, your last song really touched me, and I could relate with it. I will be listening to it through this podcast, and I would like to talk to you about it sometime in the future, maybe.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Joel, you've had a life that I can't say that I know anything about, but thank you for sharing and trying to bring it out so people will take an interest to it. And if I may, I'd like to close with a something I wrote. It's called 988. Here I am again, alone in my head. It's almost daylight. I should be in bed. My mind won't stop. It won't shut off. If I could, I'd dunk it in a cold water trough. I doubt it would work. I'd just get wet. See, I no longer feel as an asset. If truth be told, I'm feeling rather worthless and a little hopeless too, I must confess. I'm feeling rather scared. This is true. And those that I know haven't a clue. There's a lot going on. I have decisions to make. I seriously don't want to cause any heartaches. I'm only 63, but I feel 110. I'm giving up hope that I'll ever mend. The flame in my soul is smothering out. Don't feel obligated to ask what it's about. I doubt if I'd tell you anything anyway, and just corkscrew my life through yet another day. I need someone to hold me, let me break down and cry. I pray this happens sometime before I die. What would change? I really don't know. I wish I would have told him became a John Doe. If he would have killed me, I wouldn't be going through this. And being a no one, I wouldn't have been missed. I ask myself, why do I keep getting out of bed? The answer is no longer inside of my head. I don't see myself as ever being healed. This is just my life on my daily battlefield. I've been at war now for over 45 years, and I'm still not able to conquer my fears. As much as I want to, I'm afraid to die. I can no longer bring myself to commit suicide. My mind is a wreck, my body is broken. I know that there are words that go unspoken, but as I speak, they make no sense. I'm sorry if I'm keeping you in suspense. Yes, this is true. I feel extremely alone, and it's not easy to pick up that phone. I don't want to be a burden or you aggravate. I think it's time for me to call 988. It's me again. I call 988 because from my mind I needed to escape. I didn't get a veteran. I got Tracy. I talked to her anyway. It was still good for me. I rambled on. It seemed like well over 2 hours. I found my courage, my strength, my superpowers. But at first I didn't know what to say. But not to worry, she kept me engaged. I wasn't suicidal, I just needed to talk. Because my mind was experiencing a major gridlock. We talked about everything until my brother-in-law pulled in. Yes, in need, I will call 988 again. They're there for us, people. You don't have to be suicidal. You could just want to talk, don't want to be alone. Give them a call. They're there.
Miss Kimmer, when did you write that?
I wrote that a couple of nights ago.
Okay. We are with you. We're with you, dear.
Thank you.
Mr. Felici. Oh, I got rid of him. Brought him back. Tell us your final thoughts, brother.
I think my final thoughts are don't be afraid to reach out. Don't be afraid to tell your story to other people. Maybe they shared the same experiences and learned something from it, and could teach you on how to get through. Recently, back in 2020, I was diagnosed with Parkinson's, and I've been on all these Parkinson's medication, but nothing was happening. So at the VA, I requested a different neurologist, and lo and behold, I didn't have Parkinson's all along. It was essential tremor. So I'm finally off all the Parkinson's medication, and they got me on the right treatment for essential tremor, and my tremors are going away in my hands pretty much. Still got a little bit in my left hand, but I'm starting to be able to play my guitar like I want to again. So whatever life throws at you, just I say, damn the torpedoes, full steam ahead.
That's a lot easier said. That's a lot easier said than done, and it only works when only you get to say that, Joel. I mean, in the fact that you have been through the muck and the stuff, and I appreciate you, man. You get to say those words, and thank you for being here. Thank you for your message. Thank you. You fit so many nuances or niches, in regards to accommodating veteran and first responder needs. And today you bring the cultural aspect. Today you bring like the physical aspect, and we just appreciate all you. And you're here regularly supporting what the People's Patriot Project does, so we thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Mr. Blaise, what are your final thoughts, brother?
Just I really think that music is something that can it's just incredibly powerful and bonding. Like Joel was saying, it can reach across borders and across cultures. There's nobody that doesn't like music. I mean, even if somebody's not a big music fan, they still enjoy music. I mean, it's and I think that like Tom Petty said, music's the only real magic left in the world, and I think that's true. And I think that it's something that more people should access as healing, or at least should attempt to access as healing. Not everybody's going to respond the same way, but I think that's something that everybody should at least look at, and not just physical healing, but spiritual healing, cultural healing. It just, not to sound too new age hippie, but it's just good vibes, man.
Well, we appreciate you, and we thank you for your craft and being here and willing to come on. And let's start this new rise for the Jack Blaise motion and movement and get this thing done. Thank you for being on here, brother, and thank you for your craft. And if we can get some live, well, it's not live. If we can get some cuts of your stuff, we'll throw it on Weepy Through Radio. We got some news about Weepy Through Radio here in a moment, but we'll like to hear what Miss Eichmann has got for her final thoughts.
All right, cool. Thank you. I do want to bring this up because I did a little pre-thinking after I talked to Joel about being on the show. And so I was kind of focusing on, broken bonds within the military, brothers and sisters. I don't want to say friendship, but the bond, period. Brotherhood and sisterhood. And so I found this, and it's about the emotional impact of a broken bond. Starts out with a sense of betrayal. Those close bonds, when they're fractured over specifically political or ideological differences, veterans can feel a deep sense of betrayal. This could lead to anger, confusion, and sadness. There's a loss of identity because military bonds often form part of a veteran's identity. When these connections are dissolving, it can lead to a loss of self, creating a feeling of isolation and abandonment. There's a thing of grief and mourning. Losing a military brother or sister to a difference in ideology can feel like a personal death. There is often a grieving process similar to losing a loved one, which can lead to depression or anxiety. There is guilt and regret. Veterans may feel guilty if they perceive themselves as responsible for the rift or regret over not being able to preserve the relationship. This emotional turmoil can lead to unresolved pain and prolonged psychological distress. And then there can be division within the broader veteran community. When political disagreements lead to rifts in military relationships, it can cause broader divisions in veteran communities, leading to further isolation or a loss of shared sense of purpose. That's not saying everybody has to agree. That's saying let's have some compassion and let's get back to listening to each other. And you can't hate your brother just because they don't agree. You can. Obviously you can, but it's not good for the soul. There, of course, are some ways to help heal and rebuild. There were some ideas that I came up with. And let me just say, they're simple. First of all, having open dialogue, thinking about your shared purpose, mediation or counseling, depending on the depth of the relationship, focusing on that brotherhood and sisterhood, using forgiveness and compassion, and, we have some professionals in the room, even find yourself some veteran peer support. Runs deep. We've got Kimmer here with Catch 22 and there's so many. Michael Burrows is on. There are so many ounces of support right here on this screen. And so I think we can get through that. Gosh dang, let's not let this politically ramped, charged society right now bring us, it's, I don't know. It's killing us and literally and figuratively. So let's work through that together. And then, so once again, and I hate to bring this up, sound like a broken record, but it is so amazing in my heart when I have two people, and of course I saw Jack's name and said, let's see if we can get this guy on again. And then Joel and I had a conversation, and thank you, Joel, for bringing that in. And then look, you came in and it's music, and we talked about guitars for vets. And then we had Brian in the room, who's got some new connections. Oh, shoot, about a year old, one of them, with guitars for vets. And so things are meant to happen. And sometimes we don't want to sit back and wait for them, but boom, just look what happened tonight. That's very cool. So thank you for joining us tonight. We appreciate it. We love the time spent. We will be keeping in touch and gathering more info from both of you. We do have a guest next week by the name of William Stevens. I think it's 1821 Productions. He is a veteran as well. If you've been in the WP3 group, the People's Patriot Project group, you've seen him around already. So we're going to just get to know him a little bit better and listen to our radio station as soon as it's live. I don't know when. hopefully Mark's got some info on that. We're building it, rebuilding it, and making it bigger and stronger. So join us on that one. And I think that's it for right now. Thanks.
Thank you, Miss Eichmann, for your amazing commitment and mission to the People's Patriot Project and what you do. Yeah, I mean, sadly and unfortunately, because of growth, sometimes you got to take a step back in some pieces. And that was a piece that we thought was necessarily to create a better program for our WP3 radio. And so it is offline right now, and that is heartbreaking to us because WP3 radio brings the best of the best when it comes to the musicians across our country that are service oriented and have served as veterans and first responders. There's not a radio station like it in the country, period. Bottom line, it's not a lot of filler. It's not a lot of talk. It is straight up just music of those men and women who have served. And right now it's offline. And that is because we're in the process of I was going to say resurrecting, but that's not really the case. It's just a change of format. We wanted to make sure that there was more access, for us. It is what it is, and we would like to thank Michael Madsen and what he's done in the past with WP3 Radio, Foxhole Radio Network. We thank Michael and what he's done, and it was just a piece where we needed to have more control of the pieces of it. So we have taken that, and that is where we're at. It just is going to take a couple of minutes, hopefully less than a week, to put that format back together and create. And we would like to thank Rees Across America and their team who have come along our side because of our relationship as coordinators for the Fort Snelling Rees Across America here in Minnesota, and their relationship with 365 and what they do as a radio station. They are helping mentor, teach, and put our content out there. And you're going to see a lot more exposure because of that. And so that's what we're doing. I know that's a long dialogue piece that probably should have been saved for tomorrow at 4:30 for the WP3 weekly debrief, but it is a piece that's out there, and we want to make sure everyone understands. We thank our guests for being here. Again, there's not a show that puts on the format that we put on. I pridefully say that, and the WP3 team pridefully says that. We're willing to have the toughest of any conversation, and we've been noted for having those tough conversations, and we've been ridiculed for having those conversations. The bottom line is we don't come across as knowing everything. We never will. We never have. And that is our narrative. We are people trying to help people, bottom line. That's a tough piece of exposure that we have to swallow at times, but we will say we are here to support every and all men and women who have worn the uniform at any given time. We are here to support you. We are here to support the men and women that have put on the badge as the blue law enforcement. We are here to help support firefighters. We are here to help support our EMS. We're here to help support our corrections and all those that have served in the uniform. Period. Doesn't depend. There's no ifs, ands, or about. It's about the conclusive matter that you served. You've done more than 93% of the rest of our country. We appreciate you. You deserve a little bit more when it comes to support, in my opinion, in our opinion, in the People's Patriot Project opinion. We do have a call to action weekly. We didn't get done the pieces we wanted to get done, and that's on us, and we will say that proactively. But at the same time, we do know and say that we all have a device in our hand. I'd like you to create a text thread and type in, I was just thinking about you, and I'd like you to cut and paste that to 6 different people in your network. We wanted to do the wave 2 weeks ago, and we haven't put out the promotions and the narratives to get that done. It doesn't matter. We haven't got it done. We are asking you to do this at least weekly, where you're reaching out to someone in your life that you serve with, that you know, and that you support, and just say, I was just thinking about you. We do ask you to make a conversation with one of those hard conversations where a relationship might have gone sideways a little bit and you may have lost touch with somebody for, it doesn't matter the reason. It might be a personal, it might be a hurtful reason, but we challenge you. Have that conversation and just say, I was just thinking about you. Sorry, not sorry. It is a conversation. If it builds another conversation, great. If it doesn't build another conversation, you've done your role. Bottom line is we're all human and we all want to be part of relational situations. And so that's why we do our contact piece. Some people do push-ups. Some people do rec marches. We know that we're individually reaching out to 6 people a week. That might make a difference. Reach out to those leaders that you think that maybe you never thought in a million years needed to hear, I was just thinking about you, because they're the ones that need to hear it as well. Again, thank you for our amazing guest for being on here tonight. Thank you. Tucker Hart, long time, brother. He's part of that network down there in Texas. That is
another beautiful human being.
He is an amazing human being. We know Tucker very well, and we appreciate Tucker and the hard work he does with our good friend down there, Mr. Scotty Frazier, constantly helping out, constantly trying to be part of the solution and making a difference, and we appreciate him. Just boom, pop up in there. I like it. Jack Blaise is in the house, and he will be in the house for a minute, meaning a long time. We appreciate you. We appreciate Mr. Felici and being here. Thank you, Joel, and thank you for all. Well, you guys trying to overtake the show right now. the Texas Mafia crew right here. It is what it is. We're closing it down. We appreciate all of you. Thank you for all for being here. Thank you for all that are making their comments. We appreciate it. We can't have this show without our guests. We can't have the show without our listeners. We can't have this show without the WP3 team. We thank you all for being here. Thank you, and we appreciate you. Patriot Pride, come see us tomorrow at 4:30. It's a tough time, but it's our time where we come and debrief you with what the People's Patriot Project is getting done. Thank you all for being here. Patriot Pride. Peace.